this is in response to Kendra D's video. I don't have the name in front of me, but she was talking about women needing to have a man or putting a responsibility of being a good woman or a good person on the men or man that they have in their life. In other words, they're putting the onus of making the woman a wife or a good woman on their mate. And I see this really only in the Black community, because you really don't see any other community of women as a group saying this. Now, other groups of women may talk about society's influence and maybe even them going to school, but the onus is basically on their parents and their upbringing. But Black women seem to believe that Black men have this magical power, if they really wanted to make Black women or individual Black women into something that they never were. So they believe that all Black men have to do is either use their magic penis or sprinkle their magic pixie dust on them, and all of a sudden they're supposed to transform into this goddess that is refined and good-natured and submissive and the perfect wife and mother and woman and companion. And if she does it, she's with a man and she does it, that means he's weak or he's inadequate. And unfortunately, Black women are the only group of women that actually believe this. Sometimes I don't even think they believe it. I think it's just a cop-out. I think Kendra mentioned that it's just a cop-out. And you know it's a cop-out because a woman will go through 3, 4, 5 men and sometimes two or three marriages and get divorced, and then blame the husbands for not being the right man to make her be a good woman, and don't even realize that the equation, the bad part of the equation was her. She was the fly in the ointment. It wasn't them. It wasn't that they were weak. It wasn't that they were inadequate. Is that was who she was, and really there is no changing her. And I was learning from the Kabbalah Center, and a Kabbalist dating coach was saying the same thing. I think I actually played it on my video about the 5 rules about women. And first thing he says about a woman, about a female mate, you can't change her. You can't change the vessel. You can only change yourself. And if she's not the right relationship for you, then you have to let her go. In other words, you as a grown man do not have the ability to change a grown person. You not have the ability to shape a grown person. All the shaping and that kind of stuff should have been done before you met them. The tender years are between the ages of 1 and 7. And the individual personality emerges about from 7 to 9. And once that individual personality emerges, you can't change that. That's going to be their personality. I know because I have 3 children. And the individualistic personality emerges at age 7. My grandson is experiencing that now. He's 7. He's going to be 8 in a little bit. You can work with it, but you can't change it. You definitely can't change a person that's past the age of 18. You can't change them. You can't make them into something that they are not. And a lot of Black women think that even though they were never trained to be a wife and a mother, they were never trained to be a good companion towards a man, that all they have to do is get grown and meet the right man, and he's supposed to inject all that into her. He can't. The light cannot change the shape of the vessel. He can only fill it and imbue his essence into it. He can't change it. If the vessel is inadequate, he can't use it. If the vessel is inadequate for his purposes, he can't use it. That should have been shaped by her mother. Only a woman's mother can make her a wife, can train her to be a wife. Now, can she get better? Yes. Can she learn to tolerate it? Yes. Can she learn to fake it? Yes. But she's never really going to be that good at it because she didn't get her basic training from her mother. She wasn't raised to be a wife. She will be a decent companion, but she'll probably never be a decent wife because she was never trained to be that. Every woman that I ever met that was a good wife, and I asked them about their upbringing, there's always one common factor. Always one common factor. They were taught by their mother. Every woman that I've seen that was a good wife that stayed married, especially for, with a decent husband, They were always taught by their mother. Even Kendra, whose mother wasn't the best, Kendra learned a lot from her mother. Even Kendra says there's certain things that she learned from her mother that enhanced making her a good wife. There's a lot of bad things, habits that she picked up from her mother. There's a lot of bad things that she could have picked up that needed fixing, that she had to fix on her own. But the basics things of being a good wife, Kendra admits that she learned from her mother. Now, Kendra can tell me I'm wrong. So even as contentious as a relationship as Kendra had with her mother, and I'm not saying anything that everybody doesn't know because Kendra's talked about it. Kendra does say that the basic things that she needed to know to run a household, she learned from her mother. Now, whether it's by force or example or coercion, I don't know. But Kendra says that how to run a household, how to take care of her clothes, how to clean a house, all that stuff she learned from her mother. And that's usually the common denominator that I've found about being a good wife. And I've seen some very privileged women that were very nice and very sweet, had great personalities. Lousy wives. Horrible wives. Now, my ex, the mother of my children, she actually would have made a good wife because she had all the basics. She knew how to cook. She knew how to clean. She knew how to basically take care of children. A lot of different, she knew a lot of different things that she knew how to do. And she had the basics of being a good wife. The thing is that her mother was not a nice person. Okay. So as far as being a good companion, that's what she was lacking. The finer points about being a good companion and being a good wife, she was lacking. But as far as the basics, as far as the taking care of a household, she was trained to do that. Now, the desire to take care of a household, how to treat a man, yeah, that's where she fell down on. Okay. And I've seen women the exact opposite. Basically, they were good people, good to be around, nice personalities, a decent companion, just lousy wife. I mean, absolutely horrible. Not good wives. And you can see that there's always a reflection of that woman's mother in her. That's why I can always tell a guy, if you really want to get serious about a woman and know what kind of wife or companion you're going to get, go look at her mother. Good, bad, or indifferent, elements of that mother is going to be in that woman. And a conscious woman that really works on herself can tamp down some of those negative parts. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of conscientious work for a woman to do that. For any person to do the same thing with a guy. You're a reflection of your upbringing. You replicate what you see. And your upbringing always has you by the short hairs. Now, you can either work very hard to kind of push the negative parts of what your upbringing aside, and so that your natural instincts, your natural talents can emerge. But it's always a constant fight, because it's always going to influence you, who you pick as a mate, what kind of job you take, your level of ambition. All that kind of stuff is a reflection of your family structure. Now, some people can actually overcome those barriers, but it takes a lot of work. And very few are willing to take on that massive amount of work to actually change their basic training, to change their basic programming, or at least, now you can't rewrite it, but at least layer it to where the negative parts are what I call fixing the bugs in your basic programming. So with that being said, expecting your mate to change you, expecting your mate to fix you, expecting a man to make a woman who's not a good person, as the Roger Report says, black women are not good people. It is not up to that man, to that husband, to that boyfriend to make you a good person, to make you agreeable, to make you cooperative, or even make you successful. It's not up to him. It's up to you. Just like it's not up to you to make that man a good husband. Either that man is going to be trained to do it from a kid, from a little boy on up to be a good husband, or he's going to have to do a massive amount of work to make himself one. It's not up to you. Same thing with women. You can't blame a man for not making you good. You can't blame a man for you not being respectful to people, or respectful to men, or open to men. Has nothing to do with it. If you got a fucked up personality, you have a fucked up personality. And if you carry it, you carry it. And 9 times out of 10, your mother trains you to have that fucked up personality. And then you wonder why you get the results that you get. And I can tell you, a ring on your finger is not going to change the person that you are. Because I have put a ring on a couple of fingers. And that personality got worse instead of better. So stop telling that lie that marriage is going to change you. It does not. Even that child, that baby, is not going to change you. It's only going to enhance what's inside of you. If you're a foul, nasty, evil-tempered person, that child is going to get the brunt of you being a foul, nasty, evil-tempered person. Because it's going to show up. Because when a child stresses your patience, you're going to react. Just like marriage. All the marriage is going to do is wipe away that mask that you have up in front, and the real person inside of you is going to emerge. And that's the person that man has to deal with. That's why a lot of guys say that woman changed, because she took off that mask. If she wasn't agreeable and even-tempered before you got married, guess what she wasn't going to be after you got married? And a lot of guys tell me that, and I always ask them, wasn't she that way when you met her? Well, yeah, I thought she would change. Well, did she? No. Because she's not. That's the person that you get. That's the person that is. And that's the package that you're buying. And that package came from the factory, which is their mother and father. The time to change that person is before they reach the age of 7. Unless you can go back in time and raise that wife to your specifications, guess what she's going to show up? She's going to show up as a whole person. And that whole person may not be agreeable. And basically, she is who she is. So don't believe that hype that you can make a woman be something that they're not. Even though in these circles, they try to sell you that bullshit that you can make a woman do something that she doesn't want to do. I can tell you that's bullshit. All your penis and your money's going to do is incentivize her to do something that she wouldn't ordinarily do. You're paying her to actually become an employee. And she's getting what she wants. And at a certain point, that personality is still going to come out. Ask a rich dude about his wife. The personality, if she's an evil bitch, basically, guess what? There's no amount of money that's going to make her not be an evil bitch. In fact, what it say? Money doesn't change people or change their personality. It actually reveals them. Ask some athletes. Ask some wealthy guys that marry these kind of chicks. And ask them what kind of personality they have a year or two after marriage. Even though they got millions of dollars, it don't change. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. That's all I got. This is BGS out. I'll see you guys on the next one.